Entertain a motion to approve minutes as written.
I make a motion to approve the city council minutes from April 27th, 2021.
Second. All second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? That's unanimous. Okay, reports. John, do you have a report for the fire department?
Just let everybody know, we've been working with the new recruits and breaking them into the routine for support people. And yes, fire season is here. Don't doubt it. We did have a vehicle accident, which is rather rare in the city, but it was a medical call and no big problems.
All right. Okay, thank you. How about planning then?
Okay, you should have a letter about our May the 5th meeting and the items that we addressed and our recommendations. The letter from Tony Thompson, we sent that on to council for action. And again, the learning process, the only authority that planning commission could have on something like this is under the heading of health, moral, safety, comfort, convenience, and welfare of the city. That's in the planning ordinance. Kind of a stretch, but we're sending it on to council for action. We had a fence application from Brad Murray, again, recommending approval as long as they follow 8.040, which is what we discussed at the last meeting, the height and the distance back. In the vacation request from a Jeff and Daisy Garber, we sent that on to council with a recommendation for approval, simply because council has a new vacate ordinance, and we feel it would be good for council to work through that ordinance so that we get some guidelines from council on how you're going to interpret your new ordinance. And that was it. Oh, the only other thing we did at the meeting, we began the review of the planning commission ordinance to rewrite that and bring it to council for review. That was it.
Any questions for John?
Yeah.
These? I don't think any of us have our vacation ordinance with us. You probably do.
I do, and I looked at it, and they have to supply more stuff than just this. And you have a question?
Is Tony Thompson a citizen of something now?
Oh, yeah.
Is she or she lives?
He lives up in Portville. No?
She's on your creek. She also applied to be a counselor, but it's not your creek.
Tony, did you move?
I do not live on Cave
Oh, good.
Creek. That's on Crack.
Where?
That's my, oh,
On Deer Creek, on Cracker Creek.
since, 2 years ago. This one is your
Good. I call Val, but that's.
What's Val about?
Can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
All right. Good principle. Where are you?
Well, I had it out, so I must have pulled it out. They have criteria that they still have to meet. They have to bring all of the surrounding landowners list of addresses. Oh, I did have it pulled out. I must have.
I thought we did that. They have to pay for the letters to be sent.
Yeah, and they have to have all of the addresses and the names of the surrounding landowners presented. They have to have their okay presented. Not just that piece of paper.
No, Marcia,
Huh?
the first piece of paper that we just got, that's for us, it's not the blessing, but it's to move forward.
To move
So they can go back and then that way they can spend their money to do the connection as far as sending out the letters that need to be sent out to the adjoining people. Then we get to hear back from them, and then after that step is placed, then they gotta come back with a survey. Then after that comes back and we get that blessing, then they turn around and if we give them that blessing, then it goes back to the attorney, and then it comes back to us for the final blessing. Those are the steps that we took. And the reason why we did it in so many steps is right now, this blessing that we want to give, we don't see a problem with it as of yet. So then we send that forward to do the next step, because I think there was 4 or 5 steps that's got to be in place.
Not how it's written.
Yeah, that's the sequence.
That's the sequence it's supposed to
We did
take
that
place.
so that they don't front somebody all
Yeah.
in front and then it's turned down.
So is it or is it not what it says?
Trying to find the ordinance. I looked at it earlier. It's not how I read it. That they have to supply that stuff first. I don't know.
Well, I think she's looking for it. Let's deal with the Murray's.
Yeah, I think you better start in for.
So it's a 6-foot fence, it's 15 feet back from Austin Street. On the property line with the neighbors. It's a corner property, so. Don't know how far back this northwest post is. Ash,
Isn't the property right up the center one? Probably three, the Murray?
banana.
No,
No,
no.
Thank you.
I already lost that one.
Oh, that's the piece that's on the corner of this, as you go up the main, off of hospital. So that would be,
Right next to my house.
yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's that little yellow log cabin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that.
Yeah. Yeah, by Joyce.
When did we start requiring a permit for a fence?
Okay, that's the initiation. The lower requirement.
Does anybody know the county ordinance for height, so many feet within a corner of streets?
As long as you're within 15 feet. I mean, if you're more than 15 feet back with the ends of the fence, there is no height limit. When you're within that 15 feet, God, I think it's like 2 or 3 feet.
You can put a 6-foot fence right up to the,
You can go up, you put a 6-foot fence up to 15 feet, within 15 feet of the corner. That's your provision.
Right.
but you can put a lower fence in there, like,
I think if that's a full foot, then
It's 40 feet.
yeah, I'm not sure, but we need to look at the ordinance.
It's 4 feet.
It is?
Ours is 4 feet.
4 feet.
All right.
And if it's on a corner, that's
the
where.
only reason why I say that is because when we did the one across the street,
Oh,
we
Those
just
fences
did that
are
in left.
on lot lines, they follow the lot lines anyway, no matter where they are. The ordinance, I haven't gotten notification, planning ordinance has changed. But most of them are consistent on the lot line.
Yeah, you can.
I think the corners of the only ones that have that specific for clear vision.
yeah, so there's,
That's right.
yes. So that post is off their front porch, so it's more than 15 feet from the man's. Do you see any problems with that? Entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve the fence for Garden.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Wait a minute. I have to abstain because I have a potential conflict of interest.
As a property owner there.
I would share a boundary with them.
Okay. Martin abstains. All in favor?
Greg, read the resolution.
Resolution.
Read your resolution, what you said.
Motion.
Your mo-
Oh. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve. Didn't clarify the Murray application for a fence. Linda, you want to reconfirm? the
Is
motion?
that what it says? Make a motion to approve the fence for the Murray property?
Second.
You did it correct, Marcia. All in favor?
Aye.
I still abstain.
On, okay. All opposed? Pass unanimously with the exception of Martin's extension. Okay.
And yes, we are missing some documentation on this, so we should just look.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what .040 says?
I can read it to you right here.
Great.
No.
We,
Section 8.040, vision clearance areas. No vision impairment obstructions over 4 feet in height shall be permitted on a corner lot within a triangle of land 30 feet each way from an intersection of 2 streets on which there are no stop signs. This regulation may be imposed on an intersection with stop signs if a hazard to the public exists.
So in other words, that piece has to have, instead of 15 feet, it's gotta have 30 feet, so there's no stop sign. Is that what I'm hearing?
unless there's a stop sign.
Unless there's a stop sign, and there's no stop sign there, right?
I don't know.
No.
Well, do you stop there, Martin?
No, I don't go in and out now.
All right, so that post has to be 30 feet back. We need to communicate that to them since they don't have a measurement for us. All right.
But we need to withdraw that motion and have them to resubmit unless you stipulate. Is the motion.
Well, that's the ordinance, so, you know, the ordinance applies to this regardless of,
But we passed as presented.
yeah, I mean, it doesn't have a measurement there, and it's
Oh.
a subject to following the ordinance.
Okay.
So we just need to provide them with the ordinance and then highlight the application for the man.
Greg, could I ask, do they get a copy of the ordinance that they apply with before planning? If not, they should,
It should.
so they don't have an afterthought, they don't put in the expense for putting in expense. I actually think it's 25 feet diagonally, but, point being, if they knew ahead of time, they could plan it, buy their stuff and do it. Plus, we wouldn't have, ordinance violations, zoning ordinance violations.
We have talked about that as part of the package when people apply for vacate or whatever it
It
is.
needs
Are we
to be.
doing that? We need to be doing that.
Yeah,
No, because the ordinance was being worked on, so if I give them an ordinance that could be outdated, then what?
it wouldn't be updated until the date.
It's what, yeah, whatever applies now.
You don't have to get in the hole. Can we put it online? We can put it online.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep.
I tried to go online on Facebook, just to read council minutes, and they're clear back to 2018.
You're on the wrong site.
Yep, go to YouTube.
Oh, no, this is Facebook.
You're on the wrong site.
What is the right side?
It's the city of Sumter, Oregon.
Because when you have this one here like this, because it's that back and forth.
These guys on the city file.
I don't know.
But that's-
They're discussing things.
We have, businesses in the residential, zone, which is not,
But I'm just
in
saying.
the residential,
from what
this is
John said,
limited zone.
that's what I.
They've been issued business licenses, they pay tax, the business tax in Baker, and they're not even allowed to be in that zone. So if they've known that when they were getting their business
Okay,
license.
go ahead.
Can we have a point of order here?
Sure.
You have a gavel?
Well,
Oh, gee.
you were busy and she's just having this whole conversation, but it doesn't have anything to do with the fence you guys are talking about.
It has to do with the zoning ordinance, or the planning.
She's having a hard time taking notes. We're all over the place.
Yeah, we're not dealing with planning, zoning, potential stuff now. Whatever the ordinance we have in effect right now is what's in effect to this. They need to be supplied with that, and we come up with the new ones. That'll be gone, we don't have the new one.
Okay, and Martin brought up the subject that maybe I should just put it online so they can go refer to it online. It can be on the website.
Yeah, do you think anybody's gonna do that?
I know I've done it probably, maybe 10,000 times.
I probably wouldn't do it,
Well, that's the difference between you and me.
probably.
Uh,
Yeah, I'd say most people aren't going to.
We can have
do their
both.
research. If they have it in front of them, then there's no question we can send this to them.
Right.
Put it on the application. Copy of the ordinance may be found on HTTP blah, blah, blah. And then if they aren't energetic enough or smart enough to go to that and look it up, that's their problem, not ours.
That's true, that worked.
But it would be in part of their packet when you guys received it,
Yeah,
that they knew
right.
ahead of time.
Yeah, on the form.
Give it on the
Yeah.
floor.
That they
Yeah.
can sign it, it's right there in front of their nose,
Yeah.
they can't deny it.
Yeah, that would suffice,
Save you a lot of grief.
and paper.
But I hate to do this, but I need, John, can you please come here?
But that,
Can you please come up here?
With the word, yeah.
I have a question. This is the way that I believe this to be from what you read in the ordinance. Can you speak from it? Because I think this is what they're saying needs to be 30 feet.
this is in this corner, right?
Like, well, this big one.
Very corner, and I think there's 30 feet, 30 feet.
Okay, so it's not a 30 feet, so on the.
From what I read, it is,
I just want to double check.
okay, 4 feet in height shall be permitted, no visual impairment, over 4 feet in height shall be permitted, corner lot within a triangle of land 30 feet each way from intersection. Intersection is here, 30 feet, 30 feet.
Okay, from the corner or the intersection.
From
not
the
the
corner,
right.
that's how I answer.
Okay.
Because if you went
You
to
have
the
to
center
present
of the
it.
street.
I think so.
I don't know.
Both of you.
Yes, sir.
Corner, the intersection.
Unless it's.
I just wanted to clarify.
No, it's
Why
just-
man complaining.
Okay, but how do you, that's part of your petition. Yeah, a petition shall be made.
How I read it.
Okay, yeah,
What do I need?
Kevin Daisy Garber,
What are we gonna do with this one? Are we done?
Yeah.
Okay.
When do we finally do it? What are the limits? So this lady knows exactly what we did.
on the fence,
Yeah,
the 6-foot height cannot start within 30 feet of the corner along Maple Street. It can be a 4-foot, but it can't be a 6-foot.
okay.
Did I get you?
That's it.
Okay,
It might be 25, you might double check. Someone else.
says 30.
Okay.
All right, the Garbers, they haven't provided us with a legal description. It's got maps, but that's not the legal description. Pardon? Right, okay. So we gotta get the consent of the owners, putting copies.
And I did provide him a copy of the ordinance.
Okay.
They have G to do. They have H to do. I.
So they have a copy of the ordinance, so we can tell them which pieces they still need to do.
Yeah.
Need to resubmit with all of the proper papers.
That's tabled until we have the balance.
And we'll let them know if they have to resubmit.
We're gonna need more tables out here.
Okay, let's pay the bills.
All right, you got your report in front of you. Starting the month with 4,100 or 41,000 in the bank. Expect to get another 26,250. Last month we collected 31,000. Most of these are fairly the same. Buckley Law, I've got the detail on that. Last time it was asked for. Total bill remaining is 26,000 before the $5,000 payment. New charges for this month were 3483, and finance charge were 167, which comes out to a 7.2% annualized rate. We were like 2% last time, so now we're at 7.2. I don't know what it'll be next month.
That's the benefit of not having it in writing. You can
Right.
change it.
There you go. Kudos to Marcia. She canceled and rejiggered our phone service. We're now saving $100 a month on phone service. CIS, so we owed our 2020 liability insurance in August, but sometime last year, they started sending everything electronically to an email address that we no longer have access to. So they called us last week and got a hold of us and said, okay, we'll accept your payment. So that's what that is, 23,000. The next one is due August 2021. So we'll have that coming up in the next 3 or 4 months. And then there's my bill. And the only other big one down below is Valleywide Co-op for propane delivery for 1,200. We also had 2 late add-ons to the bills. There's a charge here to OHA, Oregon Health Authority for the water system, $900 needs to be added to that approval list. And then I was just handed AA&L emergency fire apparatus repair for $4,230, which I think is dealing with the trucks that we've been talking about. Our estimate of ending cash a month from now is $18,743. Flip the page. Our current balance, said it before, that for the water, for the general account, which is the water account, 41,000, and LGIP has 141,000.
Well, before the grant money from paid out, we have one grant, we have it, money in the grant.
For the which-
For Hiko,
Eco,
Hiko still has $1,000.
we still have a little bit of money to pay out there.
Okay, so did you send the bill us, is that?
No, we just got the bill.
We just got, one bill, we'll get one more when they totally finalize it, we'll get the last bill
Yeah,
for
we paid
$1,000.
one last month, and then we got this one.
So the LGIP does contain some of that money.
All
$1,000.
of that money goes into the LGIP.
And this late bill, $500 travel time.
Which is that?
So travel. But the last one on the first page,
This for the fire truck.
$500.
500, I don't see a $500 even, am I just missing it?
You got a Richland.
It's
No,
travel
no,
at the
he's
bottom.
talking about the bill that you just handed.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
I'm sorry.
The one Greg gave us?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sure. For return.
Actually, they came here, picked it up and drove it over there and drove it back.
Oh,
You're
okay.
charging for that.
Okay, so they.
Yeah, $500.
What is this thing?
Remember how both of the structure trucks would not meet the pumping requirements? And they needed to be repaired. And basically is washers inside the pumps. And that's what that was all about. He took it over there, took had a hard time finding certain parts, finally got it, repaired it. Now we're waiting for him to come pick up the big truck, 32, and run over there and get it fixed.
This is just for
We
one?
don't want to lose that one for as long as we lost this one.
This is just for one?
For one.
I thought
Yeah.
when
And
Kurt,
it's over, Kurt was saying it's well over his estimate.
yeah, double.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought this was for both. Because it was about
And-
2,000.
2,000 feet, yeah, this is double.
Kurt was here, he's been the one talking to the people, and, I'm kind of hearing it secondhand, but
He did more work, made more repairs
he
that
did.
we weren't aware of.
For some reason, the light bar, when I picked this truck up in Manzanita and drove it all the way here, the light bars stayed attached. For some reason, between here and what is it, halfway to Richland, it blew off. So we have a different light bar, and he did go in and fix the wiring on the inside so the switches now work, and we have, overhead lights all around, working lights all around, things like that. That was a spaghetti mess. What else? Al?
The siren.
The siren is now working. It was one big spaghetti mess in there, and they did do that.
Did we test any of this when we bought it?
We didn't buy it, it was given to us.
Oh, okay.
It is the original fire truck for the Manzanita area. And I don't remember how many years they had it, but
Well, on this travel, where it says for the trip to take, to pick up the truck and return it after we read it. So they've already done this one, right?
They have done the 33 truck, yes, it is back in the day.
So did they take the other one with them?
They have not yet because they're still waiting on, in the kit to repair that particular pump. And both trucks have the same basic pump. There was one ceramic washer missing. And that's why this one took so long. It took them a while to get that washer. And now when they get the kit to rebuild that, they want to make sure the washer is in it so they can have everything there, come get the big structure truck, get over there in 3 or 4 days, get it back to us. That is the plan I am here.
Can you kind of, return to them that this $500, because if they brought our truck back, they could have taken the other one back. So that way they don't charge us another $500.
I will pass that on to Kurt. He is, again, the one dealing with the individuals over there. I will pass that on to Kurt, Charlie.
Okay.
And if they, honestly, if I'd known they were charging $500 pickup fee, I would have driven the darn thing over there.
Well, like I
I
said.
don't want it. That's ridiculous.
Well,
I'm
between
sorry.
the two trucks, that's $1,000.
Yeah, and I'll drive, if it has to be, shoot, Jim Scheller and I'll drive the big one over there and back, no problem. I know he'll do it.
Thank you.
So if that's an issue, we'll get it done. And Alan would.
I had a discussion with Kurt when we got this.
Yeah.
And being that it's 30% over what was estimated to fix the pump for both trucks, I told him to hold off till cancel and deal with.
That's up to you
It's
guys.
expensive.
I'm just a messenger over here.
He indicated that if we don't have the funds to get the other one fixed right now, that you guys can get by with the one unless we have multiple structured fire. Not that the other one wouldn't be used. It's only 5 gallons below what it's supposed to be.
That big truck pumps so much water, and it's a stupid state regulation. And if he wants to pump it, I'll take it down, we'll hook it up to the hydrants on Sawmill that are already putting out 125 to 140 PSI. And I did not say this, but the old truck, the original truck, that's what we did to get it to pass the pump. It already had 125 coming out of the hydrant. We had plenty of pressure tests. So, with ISO looking right now and maybe a reduction in the ISO rating for everyone in town, but you and Kurt work that out.
Is there a reason that Gillenberg isn't being used anymore? We had him fix our trucks. He came up here for free. He worked on them up here, after he got off work even. He was up here till midnight one night. He never charged us a dime. We used him for years.
Yeah, I don't know if Kurt's the one that's been headed this up.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. To take $500, especially why would you go to Halfway or Richland?
That's where
For
they
repair.
live, that's where
I know,
their
but
shop is.
Gillenberg in Baker,
I don't know the story.
so I think he wants that. Because he used to come up here and I don't even think he charges travel.
What does our PO say on this? What?
I think we agreed up to, he told us it'd be up to about $3,000.
And we have a PO that says,
That was a verbal estimate.
That was for 2 trucks.
Oh, that was, oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah, 'cause
verbal
originally
estimate.
It started out at like
Counselor,
like
never
$3,000 for 2 trucks.
what?
There is no purchase order system.
I remember talking about it when we had the credit card discussion.
What was that?
Oh, right after I became,
We have one that's over a certain amount, isn't it? It's for an over a certain amount.
But there is no document that we issue to vendors that says purchase order on it
Mhm.
at all.
What about an estimate? Did he give you a written estimate?
This is all verbal through Kurt.
Things are done a little differently here.
So, but he's holding off on the other one for now, right?
Pardon?
He's gonna hold off on the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta pay the bill.
If it's the desire of council to implement a purchase order process, we can do that. That's absolutely, we've talked about it, it's just never been formalized.
Do you know of any other for real business in the world that doesn't have those?
I don't know of any government that doesn't have those. Not anything big, no cities, absolutely. The smaller districts do not have those.
Well, we, I guess, do it Sumter style.
Is there discussion on the bills?
I make a motion that we pay the bills as presented with the two add-ons.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Hi.
All opposed? That's unanimously. Okay,
She's writing the minutes.
Your turn.
Can you put some kind of purchase order or accounting system for the money we spend on the next agenda, please?
Sure.
Greg,
yes.
we used to get estimates, prior estimates that you guys, that the council would approve before we even had work done. I'm not getting how you would even know what was wrong and then have it repaired if it was verbal. You know, there should be something on paper pre-repair that you guys should have seen before this ever was done. I mean, we did estimates for 10 years.
Kurt, who did the testing, John, on the pump?
I'm not sure who it was. I'm not sure if it's, to work on the truck, to do the testing and to work on the truck, you have to be certified with the state, right, to get them passed. And that may be the circumstance.
I know.
They did the test. I know I was gone. It's either at Powder River or down at Bowen Valley. And the trucks were taken down there one at a time. And that's about all I know about it. I don't know if it's the same people that are doing the tests, that are doing the repair, that are the certified ones, or a different organization to do testing. You'll have to ask her. I don't know which one.
All right. Thanks.
Something I heard with, like an airplane, the person working on the pump has to be certified.
Yeah,
It can't be.
have to be certified.
But you would be talking to them because of that anyway. But you guys could request that there is a pre-approval before any repairs are done anyway. That'll save you $1,000. You know, they can gouge you just the same as anybody else can. In some ways, I think sometimes you might even get a little more. But if you required that I thought that it actually was required that you had to have a estimate on any repair, but the city had to be submitted to the city recorder. So you guys would see it beforehand. So I don't know if that's something that's changed or something that was dropped.
No, it's policy.
These matters are gonna be put on the agenda. Take care of it.
All right, city attorney. Time to read, contemplate, the interviews. Oh,
Yep.
did.
Yep.
Sorry about that, Tony. So you're bringing to attention 3 properties, 2 on Ibex, 1 on Mill. This actually would fall under a nuisance ordinance. But what you're suggesting here is that the city contact these people if we have volunteers to help them clean it up before we go to the county with the nuisance filing.
I don't know about the one on Mill Street, but I do know the 2 on Ibex have disabled people on both properties. I know for my house, for instance, I'm sure that's one of them. I watched her drive, and I watched my neighbor film as he was driving by. Then we had a guy stop and get the license plate off our trailer. I thought that was interesting. But my husband's hips and knees are disintegrating. He can't do hardly anything. He can barely walk if you've seen him. That's degenerative. They won't do anything until they're 60 and replace his hips. So he goes out there. I think he moves stuff around, but we took a pickup load in a trailer last weekend. He can only do what he can do.
Have you ever asked for help?
Well, I'm the help. Yeah, I'm the help.
No, but I mean, have you asked neighbors, anybody?
I helped my neighbors next door. We tried to get the airstream out of there, till 1 o'clock in the morning one night, just with me and 3 children and her. She's very disabled. And she does have people that are willing to help her, but, you know, sometimes when you need it, it's not always there. It's not happening. And she actually passes out and has fevers, so, you know, I don't think it's something that is so quick that you can just drive by and point. There are actual,
So there's a need.
right there. We used to do a spring cleanup in Sumter anyway. We used to get dumpsters, we put them out at the city shop. We had people that would abuse it, unfortunately. You'd find a whole living room full of furniture, a building in them, but if it was monitored for a short amount of time, like a day, for a big dumpster where people could dump, you know, just clean their yards or whatever. But we used to do a spring cleanup every year that I was a city councilor.
Well, if the citizens would like to make donations to do that, to pay for that. The city's not flush enough
Yeah, I know.
to do that, so.
Used to be, that was
Yeah, so, but yeah, I think all of us would agree there's a need on the homeowner's part, you know, for some help.
on my part, I went out and covered most of them up with tarps. What had happened is the snow just undid them and you just was trying to do piles at a time. I know on my part, there's an extra trailer in a car there. They are not mine. One is a neighbor boy's and the other one's my daughter's. But it appears like there's a lot there, but you know, there's circumstances for everything.
There is,
And Sumter is not a veteran community for Ben. Never will be. You know, it's just not gonna be. That means that we have all different kinds of people. I remember a lady that lived up there, she had chickens.
no, that's okay. We understand the situation. We're growing. If it continues to grow over the next 5 years, this is not gonna be, necessarily remain a chicken coop community. So we have these ordinances for a reason. We wanna try to work with people.
I approved it, I helped approve the Digger County ordinance for this camp. Well, Martin helped write it.
No, I got sick then. I didn't help write it. And as it stands today, it is grossly unconstitutional.
Yes,
It's worthless.
and we had to accept it for what it was. We couldn't change it at all. It had to remain the way it was in order for them to use their lawyers and enforcement on it.
So,
I'll tell you a way to get Mill Street cleaned up, is get the DEQ after them because their gas tanks in that service station are out in the state right away.
No idea.
Silence.
Well, I have to call DEQ.
What?
I have to call DEQ.
Yeah, I mean, that seems the logical way, doesn't it?
I think Don's got quite a file on that. too.
Yes, we had them enforce it. They tore the building down, but they didn't go any farther. So, you know,
The shards of glass is more of a health issue than the.
there's nails everywhere, and it's not a safe place, so.
On the ordinance states that they just have to put a 6-foot fence all the way around it. Isn't that what, I'm positive that's what it says. It's
Now,
like,
I don't know if that's gonna be true or not, because it becomes a total fire hazard, it's a fire hazard in the middle of summer, the way it sits now.
yeah, you're right, but it's still their fire hazard. You know what I mean? If they put a fence around it, but I believe the ordinance states that it must be surrounded by a 6-foot fence. The Baker County ordinance. We had to enforce that, well, I didn't. People after me enforced it on a property up on First Street. And they put up a 6-foot fence. It has to be either out of sight somehow, which is tarps, fence,
Well, the biggest thing is though,
building.
the biggest thing is that we need to do, Greg, is gotta reach out to the people first. That's the first thing done. And then after that, if they don't want help, or if they don't agree to anything, then we turn it over to the county.
Who owns the one over here? Still vacant?
Myers, I believe.
Oh, okay, that's Leland's brother
Yes.
and his wife.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll have to draft the letters.
Drop kicking animal.
And I believe you have to use the ordinance. Is that how it is when you refer?
Cite the ordinance.
Because the county oversees the city.
What?
The
We
county,
don't have a nuisance ordinance, so the county,
We adopted theirs by reference. So
Right.
it is ours now.
exactly.
And it is basically unenforceable. We should drop this subject and move on for now. Contact those people. And you won't get anywhere with them. I've had too many unpleasant dealings with them already.
When I think you actually have to complain through the county,
We'll
I mean,
take
it
care of
goes
that,
through you.
Catherine.
you know.
Thank you.
so what's your suggestion?
My suggestion is you contact them, tell them to clean it up, or we'll take further action. Don't tell them what, because I don't know what we're gonna do yet, because I think that ordinance is worthless. And even the county does. But the DEQ is where to go.
So moving on.
So what do we direct Renee to do?
Contact.
We're gonna send letters out to contact these people, that's first thing first.
Administrative, or we have to have a motion?
I'll make a motion to have Renee contact the business owners.
The landowner.
The landowner, excuse me, requesting that they start a cleanup process.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Uh,
All opposed? That's unanimous.
If you know who the mortgagee is, contact them too.
Well, you might include the ordinance, so they know what the regulations are.
I wouldn't, because it's, in all likelihood, would be cast out by a court.
Well, you know, like we said though, it's all we have until it changes.
It is, but if you have something that's worthless, you have nothing.
You're right. It's only what it's written on paper, but it's enforceable. And that's why we went with the county, because you use the county system, you use the county.
Point of order.
We need to move forward.
Who's calling points of order?
That would be me.
Okay, I think those are supposed to come from up here, but I don't know. No.
Okay. City attorney,
City
voting.
attorney, all right, so we need to vote on city attorney. Is this a,
I would prefer to go A or B so that we can contact them first before we mention who they are in a public meeting.
No, but in the stream, it's just gonna end the stream.
What's that?
It's gonna stop and then I'm gonna have to try to reload everything all over.
Can you
Because
mute
it's
it?
live.
Can you mute it?
Hit the mute on that speaker right there and try again.
Where's your mute?
One, yep.
Well, maybe.
Okay.
All right,
Continue.
to cast votes. Ms. Page,
Hey, Shelley.
Mr. Lowenberger, Ms. Page.
Aye.
Let's just do it by name. Mr. Lowenberger, Ms. Page, Ms. Maris,
Page, Sully.
Mr. Briscoe,
Say,
Ms. Weiss,
Page.
Mr. Lucas is wife. All right, Ms. Page is hired.
Congratulations.
Okay, volunteer flea market agreement.
Can I have Renee send her a letter?
Yes.
Tell her that she's got the contract. please.
And one to Mr. White. Inform me of that. He is not. All right, the agreement between the city and the Central Valley Community Volunteers for the Memorial Day Flea Market.
And the Right House. John, have you seen that?
Yeah, got it right here. I assume you know I have a current copy.
All right, discussion.
No.
Continue discussion on the agreement. Council,
I think this is a lot.
we have.
Yes.
John, did you have anything?
Well, I have two requests, okay, that I think the city, and I discussed this with Marcia just briefly the other day. Should you all are posting about masks and distancing, because you'll have other events, and you're gonna have to be responsible for that. So once you got the signs out, you got it, you put them out. And then, you know that I wanna block off Bonanza for local traffic and pedestrian and emergency only. I'd like a little help with that, maybe, you know, the stanchions. I'm gonna try and get some metal signs that'll last us for a long time to do that. Other than that, the only concern from the other members were the, what about getting paid for 2019? That's on the list later. And I think as long as we work together, this thing can come out. And we do have some members who object to the use of fairgrounds and want to wear ground shoes, but never mind. Okay, so, other than that, I think this is a very workable thing. Marcia and Renee can tell you about the conversation with the health department. And, yeah, some hoops, but no leaking.
Other question. Volunteers and money. How much do we pay volunteers to do the program?
10%.
10% of all profit?
No,
That's not volunteer?
Laid out here.
10%?
10% of the fairground vendor space rental, 10% of the shower rental, to get all of the table rental funds and, ice sales. funds.
And that's volunteer.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
How is that a volunteer?
Yeah, that's a question, but that's,
I really do want to know how much volunteer.
We're 503C, and as such, we made an agreement with the city to take care of the grounds
Per fee.
for a fee.
That's not.
And you're just throwing volunteer in there to money the mess.
No.
So,
Yeah.
no, we do enough volunteer work around here.
No.
Catherine,
point of order,
And
okay, the volunteers, the agreement has been for years. This is one of their fundraisers. To get funds to do other projects in the city for the
Okay.
city, okay? That question has been brought up earlier, and that's why, part of the reason why we have a very short-term contract. This will be an ongoing discussion. Right now, we're just dealing with the free market coming up. The city council has, under our current financial situation, we have the necessary to drop the percentage from 15% to 10%. And that's what city council has approved. So if there is any other adjustments to this contract, we'll entertain a motion to approve this contract and cooperative agreement. And we get this signed.
making a motion to approve the cooperative agreement between the city of Sumter and the Sumter Valley Community Volunteers specified for the Memorial Day flea market.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
No,
Motion passes.
John, will you be available when the meeting's over to sign this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
just let me know when.
I don't know. Okay, museum, MOU, memorandum of understanding, where are we at on this?
it's done, we just have to get it signed,
for him,
or they looked at it, we worked it out.
they, who worked it out?
Were you at that meeting, Martin?
I was at the meeting. I was.
You haven't seen it, Tony?
No, because I gave it,
Oh, okay,
I gave it to you, I made changes, I emailed it back out to you guys
okay.
to look over. So was waiting for approval before we went to,
This is for the museum, right?
Yes,
The only thing I'd like to throw out, why don't we lease the whole thing to them and they can sublease to who they want or whatever, and we're shut up at no expense. We can lease it to them for $1 if we want. They take care of everything.
The museum and the library?
Yeah, why not?
Good.
It's a good option.
If it's something you want to consider, then I can talk to the library.
Excuse me,
If it's something you want to consider, then I can talk to the library just about.
well, I think we ought to, because if we do that and lease it to the museum, and with just requirements with respect to insurance and whatnot, compliance with laws, then they can lease to the library or do what they want. Maybe they can make some money to improve the museum. I don't know, but it's not a drain on us, because right now it's a drain on us. We provide utilities, heat, or at least half of it. That's my thought.
And workman's comp on volunteers too. You gonna talk to them, Tony? Okay. I want to table it until Tony's talked to the library, and then we can look at the lease options. Okay.
Right now, the White House, you know, you.
Which one?
What's that?
Oh, it's round. You find it?
It's this one, isn't it? Or is there a new one?
It's here. One for you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do we want, any further discussion on that?
Well, much to bring this up, but during the workshop, we asked about the insurance on the White House. So I reached out for the insurance to Kyle, and he sent me what we're paying for everything. And we got to look at the White House, and he is reviewing that because for some reason, they have $10,000 worth of content in the White House. And also, the amount for the insurance is higher than anything else we have. So when he discussed it, he said he's going to review it. And I was hoping he'd call back by this meeting, but we had to do some studying on this.
All right, let's table that until we get back from our insurance agent.
Well, are we gonna go into it any further right now? Are we gonna go into it any further right now, or just wait for the insurance? I mean, have we reached an agreement on the option to renew?
Yes.
We kind of did that, but you had asked about how much the insurance was, and that's why I reached out to Kyle, and then we saw there was an issue, so.
Okay, but I see this is, yeah, this isn't the red line technique I'm used to. It's darkened. Does that mean it's in or out or up for discussion?
That's the change.
So it's
No,
out.
that was something that I was uncertain about because some of you talked one way, some of you talked the other. I highlighted it, I emailed it to you guys to figure out what it was. And I didn't hear back, so that's why it's still grayed out. Because there was a decision that needed to be made in that section.
But
And that's why I haven't presented it to the volunteers.
if we're waiting for insurance, we can take this up later,
Yeah,
I guess.
well, it's just, you wanted that answer, and they can't answer it today for you.
Sure, and I appreciate your looking at that, but it looks like it might be significant.
Well, it needs to be changed, yeah.
And then we still gotta work this out, and of course, everybody else on the council knows what my feeling is.
Yeah.
And I think we ought to tear it down and build some more public outhouses. And the volunteers can work on those as a project.
What are the hopes for this house, from the city's point of view?
What or what?
What do you intend on doing with this house?
Multi-use.
Multi-use? city building, you mean?
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
workshop on that.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a workshop on it. We'd be multi-use, not just volunteers. We would,
I've been in it, I've been in it before.
Yeah.
Can I see the grayed out area?
The which?
The grayed out, the gray out area.
I thought the state wanted it.
They gave it to me.
You saw some to volunteers.
Yeah,
Is that
uh,
municipal use if they have an office?
well, that's table killer here, that.
Oh.
The insurance. City shop interior, I talked to Ron Bell today. He is very busy, but if it was later in the summer, he would perhaps entertain the thought of finishing that wiring over at the shop, but he's a one-man show now. Putting the lights up inside, he expressed that he needs some help with that. So, we have a submittal here from Eros Electric. Finish the electrical for the city shop, including supplying 28 new LED fixtures on the inside of the building and all other materials needed to bring the building up to current electrical code requirements. This project was started by others and much of the wiring is hidden when we find construction. Therefore, we cannot be liable for what we cannot see. However, we will test to our best ability everything thoroughly and ensure it all be in proper working order upon completion. Due to current economical circumstances, these prices are good for 15 days. Give us quote $9,950. This is, Charlie, is this guy you talked to?
No,
Oh,
I talked to him.
this is
Okay.
one that, the guy that I talked to came from Baker Electric and he never got anything back.
so.
Harris just came up and did this. You have to remember on this price that he's giving us, it's at prevailing wage pricing because that's what has to be done in that business. So just remember that. So this, to me, is a pretty good deal considering the lights are, if you figure the lights are about $100 a light. And there's 28 of them. That's the most expensive part. The outdoor lights that he's gonna put up over the two big doors, over the two man doors. I talked to him about, there's a wire sticks out that's written on there for heater. We're gonna put that in a junction box. We're not just gonna eliminate it. So all the wires that are hanging out that, some of them were for the bathroom, some of them were for the office. We're not gonna eliminate them. We're just gonna put them in junction box.
Do you have a beginning and finish date for him? I know he's a one-man show too. I can work with him.
Harris?
Yeah.
No, he's not.
Does he have more?
He has employees. That's the reason why, because if,
I knew him when he started, so it's good.
yeah, when he started, he was short. Now he's big.
I felt we got no responses. And so did we send requests for proposals to Baker Electric and what's his name?
Ron Bell.
Yeah,
Well, see, that's what I heard Ron Bell said, that he doesn't have time to do it. And like I said, when I reached out to Baker Electric, they came up and looked at it, but we haven't got any paperwork back then. It's been 3 months since he's been here. We moved on. When they reached out to this person, he came up, I met with him just Friday, and this has been put together since Friday.
okay, is Bond still in charge of Baker Electric?
No, his son is, Jeff is. And Jeff's the one that came up and I went through the shop with Jeff. But in this case, when I asked Jeff, because I asked him 3 council meetings ago prior to if he had that done yet, and he said, oh, it's done, it's here somewhere. I just talked to him last week and it's the same situation, so I was actually at their store, because Jeff Bond and Ross is the ones that do my electrical.
Who started this? Who did the electrical that's there?
Jeff McKinney.
Who?
Jeff McKinney.
Ron Bell hooked up our panel,
Okay,
brought the power in, and then McKinney put everything else in. supposedly to Ron Bell's direction. So,
Okay, did Ron Bell sign off on what he put in?
he signed off on the panel.
Did he sign off on anything else he put in?
No.
So it's not legal as I understand it. And now this guy, and I got nothing against this guy, I've worked with him before, but he says he'll check it as good as he can. And I'm not an electrician. John is on. But it's, I don't know if you could test it to make sure it's okay or not insofar as the circuitry. Whether it's got a staple every 6 inches, I don't know. You probably can't tell that.
Actually, because we're a municipality and we do it in-house, we don't even have to have it inspected. So,
We're fools if we don't. We're fools if we
oh,
don't.
absolutely, absolutely, but that's according to the state inspector for this area. So, I was surprised. I never heard of such a thing. But I had been told that, so I called him to check it out.
What's the poop on that?
Talk to Rick. He's the one that told me.
Rick's pretty lax.
Well, can't help that. He knows the law, so.
I talked to Brandon about that from Paris, and he says that a municipality is short on the permit side, but the inspection side, he says, should be done just for insurance purposes. And the insurance company probably is going to want that. I talked to Dawn from the building department. She says, which I guess we have started already an electrical permit. However, our permit has expired. It's expired. So she said, whenever we get ready to do this, she will reopen it. However, whoever does electrical, and this is what I told to Brandon, and I also said it to Jeff Bond, that ever who does this according to Dawn has to adopt what's here. So if, in other words, seeing as we haven't had no inspections prior to, they have to check it out to where they're satisfied with it before they say, I do. And when they sign that piece of paper saying that they did, then they're accepting the work being done. Brandon, he pulled the panel off of the circuit breaker box and he looked at the wiring. He does believe that it's wired correctly. However, he will do his wire testing and make sure that this 30 amp breaker does what it's supposed to do. This 50 amp breaker does what it's supposed to do, and so on and so forth.
Can you tell, John, if a wire's been nicked and is subject to shorting?
Not without an arc fault breaker, you don't want them in that shop.
Well, I know, but can you tell?
No, not with a sheeter.
Okay.
I mean, like Charlie said, if you turn on the breaker and it works, that's about all you can do at that point.
So it's another fine mess Jeff does.
Can't they crawl up in the ceiling?
It's
Yeah,
in the
they'll
wall.
go up in the ceiling because they gotta put, there's a wire that's stubbed out in the shop that they gotta stub through the wall for the light that goes over the big door, but they don't have one on the other end. So he's gonna have to run a wire from one end of the shop to the other to get the other big light hooked up over the door.
Is there insulation over the roof? Okay.
The only thing is, I do believe it's bats, not blown in.
So we're good.
Yeah, just crawl up
And
there.
then Jeff Wells says that there's a walkboard that goes up and that walks up and down, so. The only thing that Brandon asked is if he does this, it will move the trucks and equipment out. I told him yes.
So, okay, Bell will do it for how much money?
He hasn't said, he said he would consider it if we don't have somebody to do it, that it would be later in the summer.
Okay, and B-back bond will do it for how much? Bond.
He didn't, we never got a quote from him.
Okay, so now we have one quote. And of course, we got no bids on a request for proposals. But we would be allowed to make requests for proposals on a job, this part of it being less than 50,000. So we can do it this way, but we need to document who we contacted and what's going on. And I think we can legally hire Eros. But he's got to take responsibility. It sounds like the state's gonna make him do that, or at least Don is. If what you relay is correct. I have no reason to doubt, that you are correct.
Yeah, there's a disconnect between the county and the state, but I would prefer to go with more stringent.
No pun intended, disconnect.
Right.
And you do need to specify a start and finish completion date.
Did he indicate, what his schedule was
No, other than he can do it. I mean, that's not a problem. And I'm gonna say though, if he's getting where if we say, let's do this right here, we got him locked in at this. So I'm gonna say he's probably gonna get all the materials and everything here within 15 days because of the way the economy is.
Don't assume, get a start and a completion date.
Well, you can do that too, but the thing is though, we're here today and you're not gonna be back within 15 days to redo this and this price will change.
Well, we don't know a start and finish date until we consult his schedule.
Till you give him the
He's
say
supposed to
so.
have for 6 weeks.
Well, true, but you can say you don't want it spread out over a period
No,
of 3
once you
months, 4
start,
months, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it'll be once he's here, he'll finish it and he's got to prove.
Hey, John,
That's
how long would it
assuming.
take to do that if you got a crew?
2 days.
2 days. I just did Allen's shop in Union. It's 100 by 50 with a 50 by 20 bump out. I did it in 4 days. We wired the whole shop. Lights, shop, and outside.
Is this a reasonable price?
I think that's pretty close to what I estimated that being, wasn't it, Renee?
I don't remember.
Right around 10?
I think so. I ain't gonna say so, but I think so.
I think it was around that.
So you can go ahead and hire this guy and get this project going.
I-
I said you can hire this guy and get this project going and done.
Well, can I make a motion?
Sure.
I move we engage Eros Electric to get this done, provided he gives us an acceptable start date and an acceptable completion date, that he, complies with all permitting and accepts the work that's already there. And I further move, we appoint the mayor to negotiate what acceptable start and completion dates are. All one motion. It was easy, wasn't it?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously. Okay, flea market, hand sanitizing stations.
Got it covered.
Huh?
We got that all taken care of.
We did.
Yes, Linda donated 5-gallon jugs with pump stations, and we're going to put those on tables and chain them to something and put them by the areas.
Okay.
Done.
I thought the vendors all had to have their own.
They will, but this is by the porta potties, that meeting we had, they want one in every little area.
Those porta potties.
Yeah,
Keeps the food from getting that special flavor.
yes, it does. The turkey legs. So that is
Okay,
done.
the Sumter Valley Community Volunteers invoice for flea market 2019.
table a couple times, pending further, information. Here's the CT 12 that was requested, the board members list.
Do you think?
Which one was that?
It's,
Oh, that thing in Nancy's?
yeah, it's got her CT. I wasn't involved in that. I wasn't on council then, so I'm assuming you guys signed the contract with them to pay what she's done. I don't like paying for the electricity because we have to pay the electricity, but I don't know what was on your contract in 2019.
I think that was part of an ongoing contract at that point. Wasn't,
Yeah, it's kind of
wasn't
ongoing.
void yet.
Did we ever get all the books from her?
No, you just need to get a thumb drive and have it printed onto a thumb drive.
Well, I think we ought to table this until we have that in hand. It's our information, we own it.
Well, during one of our meetings, or workshops on this, we did talk about not paying the electrical fund. We were gonna ask her to redo this invoice to reflect that, which wasn't done.
And she was gonna get us that information, which would be your thumb drive.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
You don't have it.
So let's table it until that's, the numbers are adjusted excluding the,
Great.
yeah.
Okay, I'll take a lead here. You know, in one way, it's up to the city to decide what rate you're going to charge the vendors, where that the city is either break even on the electricity or making a little money on the electricity, whichever. All we did was step in and say, for taking care of all the records and everything, we'll collect our 15%. I'll go out on a limb and say, take the electricity out of there. Go ahead. You know, we're not out to gouge the city. We did this to help the city. And we made money for the city up there. And people seem to be forgetting that. What happened downtown is not any of our affair. We made money up there at the grounds for the city to put in the books. Okay? Now, we keep thumb driving this and everything to death and to death. And now I have to ask, we just signed an agreement. We had an agreement signed in 2019. Council is having a hard time honoring that agreement. Are we gonna honor the agreement we just signed? As an organization, can't I ask that question? If council would accept it right now and take the electricity out of there and pay us the balance, even if you would pay us in installments, check with Rob. If you don't have the money, give us $500 a month until it's cleared out. And let's clean this thing up.
Well, the bill's $21.97.
I hate to throw this in, but it's another way of looking at it. In their contract, the showers and the donations was not part of their agreement that they got money for. So you can.
Yeah.
So just take the electricity off and call it good, because it winds up actually being more than the showers and the.
I was gonna say, if you're gonna take it back and.
Yeah.
put the electricity back in,
Take-
it definitely says electrical right there.
Yeah.
On the contract.
Yep. That's part of the contract. So I wasn't involved. So we can make a motion to pay per John Young's authorization to take the electricity out of the percentage and request also the thumb drive for the records.
Request what?
The thumb drive for the records.
Here a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
So,
Wow. I could think, yeah, all stuff.
Martin?
Nope.
So what are we paying? What are
Okay, we got it.
right.
Motion passed.
We'll just see.
Sure.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Was it 401 again?
Hmm?
Was it 401 again?
Mhm.
It's gonna hurt my feelings.
It's just been here 4 times.
Yeah, we still haven't got anything that makes any sense.
All right, we have 5 written submissions to volunteer for the budget committee. First is Jane Leatherman. We have Skip Duffin, Lila Young, Dale Damaris, and Sherry Wonder. Is there any objections to any of these 5?
Were any of them on the last budget committee?
Skip?
Skip was. And Lila was on the one, so 2 before that. She's
Okay,
been
cool.
on 2 or 3 times.
You weren't
Oh, and
on
Jane
the-
was on it too.
You were?
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah, you were on the last 2. Jane's been on 1, Lila's been on 2 also.
Any objections?
None.
So I make a motion that we accept the candidates for the budget committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
When's that first meeting?
I believe it's June 2nd.
Yes,
Is that right?
2 and 22.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna bring up an issue, because I know it's an issue for council. I have a project that I have to go do, a continuation of last year's. Situation is, this man is like a father to me. Trying to get his place finished up and a remodel so he can get it on the market to sell. And then he's gonna move up here and live with me. I'll be taking care of him like I did with parents. I'm projecting it's going to take 2 trips instead of 1 long one. This trip will be finishing the interior. I project it's gonna be about 3 weeks. The second one, probably 2 to 3 weeks. I don't have that one scheduled yet. I was planning on leaving tonight. I probably, the earliest I get out of here this weekend. So if council has a problem with this, I've heard things. I know it's frustrating. I know last year there were issues on both sides as far as communicating with me. So I think we can improve that communication. But if there is an issue, I am prepared to resign tonight.
When are you going to be back?
3 weeks from the day I leave.
Are you going to be back for the,
Pardon?
will you be back for the budget meeting?
Not the first, but I'll call it.
But isn't that the one where we actually set the budget, set the?
That's the long one, right?
Okay, so the process is, I will draft what seems reasonable to me. We will go through line item by line item and address every single number on that budget for every single fund. And then it will be, and by the end, we should have a good plan on what we want it to be. I'll go back, make any changes that are requested of me, and then we'll bring that back to the next budget round to finalize those numbers. Yes, the first one is the long one, it's a workshop. That will probably take 4 hours, similar to what it did last year.
And can you email that to me so when I call in?
We can get out whatever we need to, appropriate, anytime, absolutely.
So there's not any way that you could adjust your schedule so that you were left later, so you were here for the meeting? I just think it's important for you to have the input
Yeah.
of the budget. And I'd rather have your input and have you here, and when you come back, and then the second one, you're not liking the numbers and stuff, and you've already done all the labor. So my concern,
You don't think we could,
I mean, and
get a conference hall and
if you can, but, okay, let's just put it up, last year, you were not able to call in when you could. You know, you didn't have a signal and you had trouble getting a hold of you. So how do we know we're going to actually get you? I mean, it's just something important we need to do, we need you here. Or we need your input.
The big thing is though, I'm sure that this is probably a 3-4 hour meeting, no?
Or,
And that's a long time for you. to
Last
sit
year was
still and
3,
be on
this
the
year we have
phone.
better numbers to go
He
on.
can smoke-
yeah,
He can smoke ways on the phone.
Right.
I'm just-
Oh, that's fine.
But I'm just concerned that you're gonna have the ability to able to call in.
You know, I have a different carrier this time, but I still don't know what that's gonna do, because I haven't been there since I've been on it. It would have to be a landline situation. And the other thing I would like to do is set up an evening a week at 4 o'clock, so that, Renee and I could have a discussion if there's anything that needs to be dealt with. You know, my input on, we could deal with that, unless it's an emergency, call the landline. If this is too much of a struggle, this is something I have to do.
Well, it's not so much a
So-
struggle, Jeff. Right, it's just, we need to be sure we get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And we need to have your input, and we need to know you're actually gonna come back, on time.
Right,
Yeah, because last year we gave you 3 weeks and, and it got to where,
yeah,
we didn't really hear from you much.
right.
One time we were gonna call, make sure you were still alive. So, I mean, that's my only concern, is that you take part, especially in the budget and some of the important stuff, and
and
not just walk away.
you do realize the city phone has to go to Linda, she's head of council, part of a resolution that we have.
If that's the case, then I'm not part of council, so.
If he's gonna call in.
That's what my question is regarding. If you're sending Greg to, and he's going away, but he's still gonna be interacting, holding a meeting, receiving emails, interacting in a 4-hour phone call, it should be that the phone travels with him so that he's not asked to spend 4 hours on his personal time. And he can keep up with city business.
But
That's
you
the
just
purpose
said
of
it needed to be done on a landline.
That does, but I still get the emails and all the texts and, that comes through, I don't know why. Even on my old service, but making an actual phone call doesn't always work.
So do you intend on attending the council meetings via the phone? So, because it can be done.
Yeah.
So you'll retain your responsibilities while you're gone.
I just wanna make sure you're going to be able to call in. And we can get a hold of you if we need to. And if you are gonna extend on us.
And you keep us updated what's going on the various things that we've already got started.
Right.
I mean, that's the thing, we have things going that we cannot just wait for you, we need to be moving forward.
Where are you going? I know it's in Colorado. Yeah, I'm trying to think, that's west of Denver.
Can you move your times when you go?
Well, we need to take advantage of the market. The farther I push it out, because he lives up in the mountains, the less time he's got to actually have prime sales. Because the snow will start, so the sooner I can get it done, the more time he has this season. So,
Greg, you decided to rerun as mayor knowing this stuff. So you knew that you already had a plan, knowing that you would be going.
Yes.
So you're going to amend her concern based just on that, just on your choice to rerun, knowing that you were going to be gone, and run anyway. I heard some of the concerns last time, you know, that you were hard to reach, and David wondered if you quit, I heard that one. You know, dependability is a huge thing when you're a mayor, and I know you take that seriously, or you wouldn't have ran.
I'll do this. I resign.
I would resign.
I resign. It's gonna be better. I don't have the time to devote to the job like I did. I actually did, I think, what I was asked to do the first term. So I think somebody else needs to step in that has the time.
Is it a case of
So-
time, or is it a case of where you are in time?
Both probably, you know,
So this isn't fixable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I voted for you, I hate to.
you know,
see you go.
yeah, I mean, it is, but, I know there's some stuff going on,
Well, we just have to resolve the
you know,
questions.
in the office and stuff.
When you've been through some major crap.
Yeah, I'm
you
tired.
know, so you know what,
Tired.
why walk away on something so simple?
So,
You know, that's not you. And that's
No,
not the guy you're looking
it's
for
not,
either.
but, I thought it would get easier after the first year.
Never gets easier.
And because I know I let the town and the council down last year, it's hard to live with.
But you came back, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Why
but,
would you
you
run
know,
again if you didn't intend on repairing?
there's a lack of respect in the staff. And I'm not faulting them for that, but, all right, I'll just say, I'll think about it
You should be.
for the next couple days, but as far as this meeting goes, I need to take a lead, so,
Okay.
okay.
Because you still have supporters out there.
I know, you know, maybe it's more than that. I don't know. So, apologies, but I need to step out.
We need to set a workshop to set resolution on these fees that we have passed on the ordinances and stuff. We don't have a fee schedule. We need to come up with a fee schedule for might change the fairgrounds. We need to come up with a rental for the community center. Need to get the adjustments on the water and the sewer corrected, and for the vacate fees. Yes. I'm available whenever.
Okay, Charlie, when are you available?
Does that sound like a fun one, Martin?
Yeah,
Yeah, we already have a resolution,
It's a
we
fees.
did the fees, so.
I know.
So, what's your schedule, Martin?
Let's see. I'm pretty much tied up this week,
Okay,
and Tuesday isn't gonna work,
okay,
so. Make some boys after this week, excluding Tuesdays.
how about Wednesday, the 19th at 4?
Fine.
Fine?
How long will it take?
Um,
Cause the planning's that night, I think, at 6:30.
well, it should, if it takes until 6:30, we're in big trouble.
I just
Most
let
of-
you know, we got, yeah,
We've got the resolution, we
we
just
could
have.
go down to Elkhorn,
Yeah.
supposed to meet, you know.
So we'll set up a workshop for fees.
Wednesday,
for the
19th at 4 o'clock.
Yes.
Can somebody get a proposed list together?
Sure.
Sure.
If we did, we found.
We have the proposed. We just have to look at it and
So the name
finalize
of
it.
You can just, email it. Martin.
What?
Yeah, she'll email it to you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else, council?
I got it.
Okay, Martin, go for it.
We, in my constituents have complained.
Okay.
And I didn't have constituents, but 3 of them complained to me. The oiling we did last year did really well, and it forms a good mat. And then we go and have it all graded and torn up, and we're gonna re-oil. And which is, it flies in the face of,
Logic.
anything normal. Why didn't, if there are chuck holes, put some gravel in it, roll it, and then shoot it? And that becomes part of the base. Now we got a mess. We've wasted that base, and I'd like to know who authorized it.
Greg.
Oh,
So you mean we worked on the road after we investigated it last year?
They did it.
no, we just did it. We just did it. It's dustier than hell up there.
Greg had them go through and regrade the roads that were getting ready to decimate.
Oh.
And to make sure that the ripples were gone and the potholes were filled in and in the meanwhile, 2 weeks before the best of goes on the road, and now it comes to dusty.
Just for the record, he said he'll be out Monday or Tuesday to put the abatement down.
Right.
For 12,000.
No,
No,
Okay.
Who's doing the abatement this year?
it's,
Okay.
but we're only doing what was in the suit, so therefore it's $8,000 and some dollars, not the 1205 or 1250.
Why did we do more last year? Did people authorize it and then pay for it themselves?
that was before my time.
No,
Council voted for the whole thing last time to do all the streets. in
They
town.
just
we
did
just,
a truck.
what we did, Martin, is we went back through and did what we had done years in the past, which are high traffic ATV trails. I got ridiculed for this one because we didn't have a flea market and I still had this big to put down. Just because I knew, because of COVID, it came through and we had a lot of ATVers up here. So we had that done. But this year, because of funding, we as council this year, and you're
I
included,
know.
and that we did that. So we're not gonna do what we did last year.
Good.
Okay, anything else, Greg?
I'm good.
Okay, public comment. Yes,
Saturday morning, 0900 cemetery cleanup. We need all the volunteers we can get. We'll be there 9 a.m. to about 3. And back Sunday if we can get anybody to show up.
Don't work us
I
too hard
expect all
Saturday.
firefighters to be here. Now, well,
I'd like to address, Concern Martin, a little while ago. That I was 51.5 years with power company. And so beyond the point of common connection, I have no idea what they did. But on my side, the power company side, if we had questions, we would make it. We have a big old meter and we would make it.
Wait a minute, I guess I'm missing.
Okay, you were asking about the Nick Flyer.
Yeah,
Okay, if it was on the power company side, I have no idea what they did beyond the point of common connection.
sure.
But we had Maker. Maker is a mega ohm meter.
Oh,
And we would test that transformer, whatever, to make sure it was gonna withstand whatever we did. You know,
okay, that will tell if a wire's nicked and bleeding off.
somebody else has to know about that, because mine was on the power company side, that's beyond the point of common connection.
Okay.
okay, anybody else?
I have a request, actually, either have it put on the next council meeting or addressed. I'm requesting that we have, signs for our ATV routes within the city limits. I do think there's a couple that have ropes across them, but they need to be recognized, for people who are going through town, not for the guy going to the post office. So that they can use the ATV designated trails, which are the populated routes, is Granite Street, not Ibex or Bonanza or Columbia. They need signs that direct people properly. we have people that are doing huge groups of people. I counted 15 one day going across in front of my house. We have a 10-year-old that lives next door to us. And since that road's been improved, it's turned into a raceway. We need, some child at play signs or caution signs or something. That little girl can't even ride her bicycle on that road now.
I don't know that we
We-
actually have designated.
We don't have
routes.
designated
Sure we
routes.
do. Sure we do. They're on that sign right there at the park.
Okay.
And they go from the dredge, they go through the alleys, which are, I think, are roped off. You might check that across the street here. They go up to Granite and up to Creek Road. Yes, it is.
No, that's my property. The alley
Did you
goes
make
this
it
way.
yet?
Yeah, they made all.
No,
the
there was
streets.
a alley on it.
Anyway,
Okay.
That was
Isn't
good
it-
one for 2 years.
Because a lot of the ATVs has changed because we did a new ordinance and stuff, so we'll look at that.
It's posted out there. We are doing the 30-day posting. There's one out on the board. You might.
and they were sent
No, they're posted for 30 days.
in public input meetings
We have had those and we'll read them and then we'll okay them. We've had workshops on, many workshops on them,
on the ORS.
on the new ATV ordinance. So it's posted out there.
They,
Where else is it posted, Renee? The post office?
Post office, gas station, grocery store.
Store.
And out here.
Yeah, we just did the
And yeah,
posting.
yeah.
It's what, another week and I think it's done. The 30 days is done.
and it has it just has the changes on.
Yeah, yeah, the new updated ordinance on ATVs.
Yeah, because signs would help. We have snowmobile, little arrows that tell them to come.
And for the record, what is your name?
For the record, it's Catherine Johnson.
Okay, well, I wrote made notes,
I did talk to the lady, I believe it was the motel. She said that, she was starting an ATV group or something. She said you guys could support her. I said, you can't publicly support any group. You can personally, but not as one council. And, but, I had asked her about the signs too, because evidently they were responsible for bringing, some large groups in as well.
well, we had a lot of ATVs in some of those this year,
Right.
or last year, so.
And it's not, I'm not talking about the citizens up there. I mean, it's a privilege to have it and it can be taken away at any time. I remember when it was put in.
Yeah.
You know, we're one of the rare cities that allows it in Baker County.
Okay, you noted. Anybody else? Okay,
Do we want to do this?
what is that? I don't have it. Oh,
I
no,
know you don't have that. I just want to ask him the question in which we can't do. But this is something we need to do.
we don't have the answer though, do
We have an answer there.
I don't know.
we? This is in regards to the,
Thistle,
Sissel,
Thistle?
yeah.
Yeah, the thing is though, is I was going to talk with Greg, which now they excuse me, so, but last week, I did read last week that he had a meeting with Joe Hicks from Sissel Engineering over our project that we're doing for the city sewer. He met with Joe to see about going across. Yeah, it used to be the Forge property, for the new proposed straight line going up to our water grounds instead of going on a jump. Anyways, Greg met with these people and I touched bases with Joe to find out where we were because I heard that he was gonna put it out to bid. But the thing is though, is at the same time, it's not a turn the key bid. They were only gonna go up so far and then quit. And then the city, from what I read in this email, I'll give you a copy, Martin. In this email that I received from Joe, where the city was gonna continue the line and do it. However, the pipe that needs to be put together at today's standards, we're gluing we're vulcanizing the pipes together. And it has to be a certified man running it, not necessarily a certified machine. So my question to him was, why ain't we doing it all with one crew? You know, why are we, and then he says in here that it was requested to him that the city was going to take and do this partial from the irrigation ditch on up. And my question is why would we put the city at liability for that?
Who authorized?
Well, we wanted to ask Greg
That's
because
what we
by
wanted to
the
ask Greg,
email, it
'cause
sounds like Greg
maybe I
did.
missed this council meeting, I'm not sure.
Well, let me ask this. Did you authorize it?
I didn't know.
Did you, Linda? Did you?
No.
Neither did I. I think by process of elimination, we know who did it.
So the thing is though here, Martin, is this fellow here needs to be contacted to see where we're going, because as you know, when I left and went on vacation, my mind still works. I called Renee because I had a question and she looked into it for me, and seeing as the city has hired Eco Engineering and they have in-house contractors. So therefore, we as a city, sitting on council, has voted these people into that position. So therefore, we don't have to have an RFP because we've already put them there. So my question to them is would they accept Sissel's engineering and DEQ's results and do the work? And it came back as, yes, they would. They would be happy to. So right now with this here, because we're gonna pay Sissel Engineering for everything that they're doing. So it's up to us whether or not, where we go with this. But right now, for what's being done, according to this email, is, it's not a turnkey project. The only thing that I see that we should be putting out as a city for an RFP would be the cyclone fence that would go around the sewer pond, DEQ requested, from my understanding. Because the barbed wire fence that is current going around there, they're saying it's not acceptable. The fence that we gotta do up at the irrigation site where the sprinkler is, I looked into that and we can get by with that by DEQ with a single strand. I say use a cable and put signage on it, because that is just a deterrent to keep people from going there. Not necessarily to keep people from accessing it, because if they want to go cut the fence, they get through.
So
Okay.
what's your solution or what's your motion, Charlie?
Yeah,
Well, I'm just saying that,
you guys need to read this and see where we're at on this, and then make copies. Then we need to talk to Sissel.
I've already read it.
Yeah, we need to talk to Sissel and.
It came in a letter.
but like I
So
said,
Charlie, you're gonna talk to Sissel then?
I can talk to, we have Joe.
Talk to Sissel and straighten it out.
We don't want.
Do we want, the question I guess I need from council is, do we want Sissel to go ahead and put this out to an RFP? Do we want to know what they're going to do, or do you want to just accept whatever people says?
Did he get anything?
But the thing is, the only thing I need to know is that answer, and then I can call and get a hold of Joe and say, we need to turn the project.
City shouldn't be responsible for any of the work being done because it will fall back on us if it isn't done right. We don't have the equipment.
Well.
It was already bid out the other way.
Talk to Joe, and then we need to get a hold of Sissel and see what, if they want to give us a bid on that.
Who do we have a signed contract with now?
Eco.
Okay,
They got their own in-house everything.
okay.
And these guys were hired before that and then kind of didn't hear anything from them, so.
And do we have a contract with them?
We do have a contract with them to do the engineering, not to do the work.
Okay,
Whereas,
well, sounds like digging a hole in the ground isn't engineering.
no, it's not engineering.
No, that's all contracting that we have with Eco.
Contractors where people already have contractors in there.
And is that included in what our contract is with them?
Well, there are engineers, but they also, they're going to look on the water tower and they will get us bids for this.
If you want to be.
And we don't have to do the RFP because they're already the in-house contractors.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, that makes some sense. I'm not sure it's correct, but it makes some sense. somebody ought to look at those contracts to see if there's something that'll bite us in the rear with Sissel.
No, Thistle was just hired as an engineer.
Well, I don't, have you read the contract in detail?
Well, I haven't seen
It seems to me that Sissel was mentioned in a workshop, they had gone for so long and had not heard back from them. The council voted to go ahead and go with Eco because they were actively working with them. And I don't know, I don't recall off the top of my head if the letter was supposed to have been sent to Sisel at that time to let him know their council.
It was, and it turned out they had been trying to get a hold of Greg for a while.
Okay,
to
but
follow up.
you said we had a contract with
With Sissel.
them, okay?
For engineering on
For engineering.
Okay, but somebody ought to read that to make sure somehow what we're cutting them off from now doesn't come back to bite us. That's only, prudent business practice.
We'll get you we'll get you a copy, Martin.
Yeah, get your city attorney a copy.
Oh, good.
There you go, I know attorney. We'll get a copy of that.
Can you let me know?
Yeah.
Charlie,
Hey,
Charlie, we're gonna do something with that.
Okay.
So we'll hopefully maybe by the next council meeting, we'll have some answers.
Jeez,
We'll know what's going on over here.
John.
Yes,
I think you set a record for tabling with Greg's. Did he table his resignation or did he resign? Because
he tabled it.
He tabled it.
who's gonna represent the city with Duncan Woodley? Cause that was Greg.
Well, I know, but that's down the road a little. We'll work out with Greg. I know.
I just wanted to make you aware that you got that coming up.
What-
We know that.
We got a lot coming up.
Yeah, we've got a lot more than that coming up, so.
That's a good point though, because my motion was to empower Greg to negotiate the start date and the end date
Yeah,
for the electrical, and that could occur tomorrow. So can I make a motion to substitute Charlie for Greg in that capacity?
yes.
So you want to amend your motion?
No, I guess it's a new motion.
Who's the president of council? Who's the president of council?
Oh, so, a new motion to supplant the original motion with the identical language, except Charlie's appointed to represent the city.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Here we go.
Okay, we'll get that. Okay, well, 6 o'clock. Now,
Are we having fun yet?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, we're done.
Um,
Oh, okay,
Aye.